delay for the defense.
So before we actually get into the matchup, it's important to know where we're going to go, and that's settled in the pick and ban phase. First things first, let's see the maps that we're not playing on. Penta is going to actually not get first pick. It's going to be Vitality who gets this. They're going to ban Consulate right away, unsurprising first pick, and then Bank and Clubhouse to follow, with Penta taking out Chalet, Skyscraper, and Cafe. For Penta taking out Chalet and Skyscraper, those strike me as comfort picks. Right now, you're looking at playing on Border, Coastline, and Oregon. Those are pretty even matchups. Those are probably 3 of the maps that are the most fair for both attackers and defenders, at least at the moment and traditionally. But Penta plays well on all 3 of those. Border will be Vitality's pick. We know that Vitality loves playing on Border. They are a great Border team. We've seen them defeat all of their foes on Border over the last couple months, and now on Oregon and Coastline as that decider.
So Border, yeah, Vitality, very comfortable on that map. Penta, of course, extremely comfortable on Border as well. So that's going to be a very good match to start us off, or map in particular. Oregon as our second. I think that's going to edge out just a little bit for Penta. And when we get to Coastline, I mean, we don't have a whole lot to work on when it comes to Coastline, but I would venture a guess that both teams are going to have some strategies up their sleeve there. I think Penta had to have let that in intentionally, banning out Chalet instead of Coastline, probably very intentional. I mean, any of the bans that they just put out, they could have replaced with a Coastline had they not wanted to go there, except for possibly Skyscraper. That was, I would say, the hardest preference pick that they had.
I mean, we saw Penta already play Coastline once. Of course, that's when Fabian brought out the Frost and basically toyed with Mocket. And then, of course, it was Coastline where Penta won the World Championship at the 6 Invitational just a month and a half ago. We poll you every single day and every single matchup to see exactly what your thoughts are. Given the size and scope of the French community, I didn't think this would be as much of a gulf between the two of them, but the community believes that Penta is going to walk away with this at least 3 out of 4.
Well, I can tell you Vitality's got the entire French vote, but I think Penta has probably got most other people. They're a very, I'd say, world-renowned team is the best way to put it. And, of course, being those world champions, they're going to acquire a lot of the public opinion. I think that this match is going to be much closer than that community vote leads on, though.
Now, if you want to give us a vote, or if you want to participate, rather, give us a follow at either our Facebook or our Twitter pages. You're more than welcome to participate in the MVP votes that we do at the conclusion of each matchup, and then, of course, vote on the community vote. And in just a moment, we will load in and start off on Border, and I imagine it'll be as hot of a match between the two of them as the water that burned my arm. So we'll see if that's true.
Is that healing?
It's healing. It's getting better. It's hot. I burned myself.
It's actually just hot in general in Poland right now.
It's very warm.
I would call it hot.
I mean, it's warm.
Okay, warm.
It will get hotter. Just as this matchup will, Border will be the scene for map number 1. This is Vitality's pick. 24% of you believe that Vitality will defeat Penta, and they will need Border if they hope to make that happen, because going down on the first map, which is their map pick against Penta, not advised.
Ventilation Room Workshop. The first defense for Penta, they're going to go downstairs trying to keep things nice and fresh. The operator selection from Vitality will be useful on both sites, most undoubtedly. But they do have that Thermite, which is going to force them, well, to consider where they want to use their utility. They could simply come from tellers on a nice simple back-end execution, or they could just go for a front door push using the glass smokes. Only one set of smokes, though, on the attack, so something we're gonna have to consider.
Many bombs as they can.
With Penta, they show a lot of flexibility on Border. They could have really gone to any single one of these sites. And, I mean, let's think back a couple weeks ago when Vitality was playing Ents. They took Ents to every single site on this map. So I think for both of these teams, there's a viability on all 4 sites. Now, mind you, the Bathrooms Tellers is usually the one site that we see played the least, but at the same time, with the way that Penta plays, their popularization of that customs defense downstairs, I think we're going to be in for a real treat between these two teams. And really it's going to come down to, I think, as Fabian put it, those mid-round adaptations. With the fact that Vitality is going to drone everything out and make sure that they know the information and have that information handy. If Penta can do a small course correction midway through the round and keep Vitality on their toes, then that, you know, concerted effort that Vitality does in the final 30 seconds could fall apart.
We've talked about it a lot, actually, with Penta, and I think it's been kind of the story of the team for a long time. The thing that allows them to get the advantage over all of their opponents is just the mid-round adaptations. They're inexplicable, really. It's just kind of a natural skill that they seem to have, where they can change on the fly whenever they need to. The strategy or each individual's just play, wherever they're positioning, or maybe they're taking downstairs and they see that this isn't working for them, so they're going to go to the top floor. You know? Or we're hunting the roamers, and you know what? We're not successfully getting those roamers, but there aren't very many anchors, so they immediately rotate over to that top floor. And you know, you talked to Fabian earlier, and a lot of it has to do with his mid-round calls, but also, just in general, it seems like Penta has always been really that team that can adapt. So, Vitality moving their way into customs, and Brit is going to get Fabian as he moves his way into the open hallway. Kind of an interesting position for the Smoke to be playing. Losing his life so very early in this round, he will not be able to use a single toxic bait.
That is a really, I guess, damning first statement for Penta to lose that Smoke. Fabian playing on the Smoke as well is a bit strange. We've seen them switch up their roles on Penta, but I mean, you've had Shate playing the Smoke, you've had Pengu playing the Smoke. To have Fabian do it and lose it early, and on top of that, let's also keep in mind that Vitality has made an early push, something that you don't see often. So that right there speaks to me in the sense that they have made that change. And hey, there's a minute left and a second kill from Vitality as Shate is off the board and Bibu storms in. But Jonas is there to grab Brid, so it will be essentially a dedicated trade. And 2 for the Bandit. Pengu now jumps in, and Penta is ready to strike back. Spark eliminating Jonas will leave us at a 2v2. And Rafael getting the plant off. He'll be covered by Spark as the EE1D just expires. They keenly watch that hatch. Goga will drop, and no, he'll get the kill against Spark. Rafael takes Goga down, and Penta will manage to snag the round at the last second as the castle of Pengu with the clutch. Even with Diffuser down, Penta will take round number 1.
Vitality seemed to have that round well in hand. They were just missing the single kill onto Pengu. A couple things gone awry there. The attacker who was holding the drop down that Pengu managed to get so many kills from, well, Pengu was obscured by his optic, the little casing of the holographic, oftentimes the reason people don't use that scope, actually working against that player. And then later, some bad timing on holding those very same drop downs from those remaining 2 attackers. They needed to have a little bit more attentiveness, but just all came down to the timing. Goga allowed to drop through the server drop down and get the kill onto the backup support player of the other attacker who was planting the diffuser. That really was what finished the round off.
So with their very first defense, Vitality will go up top, and they'll see how they can perform on defense. It was an early push for Vitality, and honestly, they were set up very well to know where the drop was going to come from. The fact that Goga was able to outduel the Lion, I believe it was a Spark downstairs, was very surprising. That really wasn't an opportunity where Goga should have walked away with that kill, but still did. If you have the Lion win that fight on Vitality, I think that round goes completely in favor of Vitality. You're absolutely right. I think it was a round that they had well in hand. I think that's a very good way to cover their defeat.
I mean, who knows, right? It was Pengu was the last player left alive, and he's well known for winning out those rounds, but either way, opportunity lost at that point, right?
Right.
So, Bandit going to be playing on the mirror window that faces towards the office. And this is just going to be to counteract the Xcaros. They have opened up the fountain wall that faces towards the main stairs, which allows for more rotation for Vitality, but also potentially exposes them should they lose control over the bottom floor. Fountain becomes effectively unplayable as the attackers will have direct access to it from behind.
Drone work from Penta. They'll discover the Valkyrie of Spark, who doesn't know that there's going to be a push coming in. You'll see some coordinating fire as the Valkyrie will drop. Spark will get distracted by Jonas from a push, but now prepared, seeing Jail, but it's Fabian who'll get the first kill. He was taken out early on in round 1, but it will be him on the other side of things for round 2, and that's the Valkyrie down. Now, Valkyrie, of course, an operator with that C4 can be clutch in the final moments of a round, but at least those 3 black eyes will be down. to give the intel, even without Spark.
So talked earlier about if they lose bottom control, then they are going to suffer when it comes to their office hold. And you can see that there was a lot of emphasis put on that downstairs floor for Vitality, but now Penta reading that and choosing to try and counter it directly by pushing in downstairs. Eunice and Fabian both trying to clear out this last remaining defender of Zephyr, holding inside of Ventilation Workshop right now, and he will be eliminated. Eunice with some swift headshot play. Raphael, meanwhile, all the while going to lose some HP, and finally his life. Gogo will finish him off, and it's just Brid and Bibu.
And that was Penta taking that downstairs control away from them quite well in good coordination. And Brid and Bibu, both great players, but they've got 5 angry members of Penta to deal with. Goga is just waiting, and it's Bibu there, but Brid gets taken out, and a grenade from Fabian, as that is a flawless round from Penta, showing that their prowess on border is just a little bit out of reach in comparison to Vitality. No chance for the Legion. What a toss from Fabian, and Penta now out 2-0. And because Penta went downstairs on Workshop first, they're now going to have an opportunity for another site. It does appear that for the moment, Armory Lockers will be the place for them to go, so not quite the same amount of site diversity that we've seen from both teams before.
Still potential for it, though. We could go to those customs or tellers. Anything is possible, that's for sure. But I think better safe than sorry, just going over to the typical bomb sites of Armory and Ventilation. There's nothing wrong with that, that's for sure. So, Vitality. So far, unable to make anything work for them, whether when they are attacking Ventilation or defending Armory. And now they're going to have to do yet another different round here as they go onto this top floor assault, something they have yet to execute. Question is, where are they going to be coming from? They're going to go for that CCTV AWOL take, or are they going to go over to the offices where you can see Shate putting up the mirror window right now? A little bit more of a hard reinforcement strategy from Penta as compared to what we were seeing from Vitality in the previous round. That open, soft strategy from Vitality really did not work out for them.
And the other thing I wanted to comment on as well, in addition to all of that, was it didn't really look like Penta did much drone work on that bottom floor, at least not that I saw. They used the EE1D, and then they had 2 push in synchronization. They had Eunice and they had Fabian essentially pushing in, and you know, Eunice got a couple shots off from Zophia's rifle, and that distracted Spark as Fabian was there to get the kill, and then vice versa with Zephyr and Jaeger playing inside a Workshop.
I think the really interesting thing in it, and what you were touching on there, is yeah, it seemed like those players, Jonas and Fabian, were droning for themselves to clear out 2 halves, 1 each of the bottom floor.
Right.
And that's a lot of work to put on 2 players. They also did it really efficiently.
Yes, it was quite quick.
So, Bibu going to be trying to take the place of Fabian, clearing out that bottom floor from the front door this time. Eunice is going to be the one to contest this. He's got his Vigil device, that ERC7, I believe it's called, and he's going to be able to make himself invisible to the drones, which of course, very useful piece of utility on that bottom floor. And Bibu will quickly dispatch him as he attempts to rotate upstairs.
That's how you use an Ash effectively in conjunction with the EE1D of the Lion, and Spark should get an assist on that one for the play. Jonas just had no chance whatsoever, couldn't even make it up the stairs. Now, interestingly, he hesitated and then he knew the push was coming. If he just had a ran for the hills right at the beginning, he would have actually been able to make it.
And that was really the problem, isn't it? He was caught in the rotation. He didn't seem like he had anything going in his favor. He was just out in the open on the staircase. And you're very exposed in that position. It's the sort of thing that you don't have a single piece of cover, and everything is about as open as it can be. Bibu, though, good on him to be able to read that situation and capitalize accordingly. He will also lose some HP, though, from above. Shate using that angle through the floor to get a little bit of damage down, so that's important. The mirror window still up on the A-wall, and EE1D will prevent the push while Zephyr attempts to use his own smoke, and he will successfully do that. Shate goes down. Also, the Glaz eliminated as Pengu throws his C4 into said smoke. The battery has been destroyed, though, so the wall will be opened up. So good job there from Vitality. Things are going their way despite losing Zephyr.
And the bottom floor control as well, completely gone for Penta, so they've got the 3 bodies playing upstairs. A second from Pengu as Bibu tries to rotate. There wasn't much health left on the Ash, so it wasn't too many shots that were required out of the MP7 of Pengu's weapon. So now Vitality will need to push in through Armory. We're going to see a rare Armory wall push. We usually will see the fight go across the offices, but now Pengu is playing this half-wall position. A lot of teams call it bunker, waiting to see if Vitality can push. An ADS late in the round will take him out, and Pengu has got 3-4 for Pengu. He's got every kill. Can he take Brit down too? He's going to hop in, and Pengu goes for the ace. He will not get it for the time being, but Fabian will clean things up, and Penta still holds on. Once again, another round that Vitality probably should have walked away with and just didn't get it.
Their execution onto the A wall was well done. Their clear of the basement, or the bottom floor rather, there's only 2 floors, was extremely efficient, and it managed to get them a kill on Dionis early on. So very good there. But as soon as they actually went for the push through the wall, they had lost their singular smoke operator in Zephyr, the Glass, and they didn't have much disruption, or much in the way of disruption, to actually make the push happen. So when entering into those raw gunfights with the likes of Pengu, playing over by Bunker, he had a good spot to lock it out, and oh, what is this?
So, take a look downstairs. Mentioned that this was one of the least defendable sites, and of course Vitality, who as mentioned against Ents took every single site on border, are going to go down to bathroom tellers.
So the interesting thing here is they haven't been successful on a single defense. Of course, this is their second one ever, but you know, they're not forced to tellers or anything along those lines. They're not doing it as a preference thing. I think it's just them trying to keep things fresh, mix up the or keep Penta on their toes, which is you know, I think again we talked about it many times, but it's the one thing that makes it so Penta just seemingly is indomitable, as we talked about earlier, is that no team seems capable of knocking them off balance. Every time there's a mix-up like this, tellers, for example, Penta seem to adapt accordingly. Every time in the middle of a round when something changes, they adapt accordingly, and that's really just their trait. So I'm not sure that this is going to work out for Vitality, but anything is possible. The nade and Excaro is going to clear out the ADS, and then follow-up will destroy the bandit batteries. Bibu also going to eat some damage, but he does get a kill. Raphael gets Goga as well. So Vitality in a decisive lead here. Penta not able to read this defense, it seems, at least not so far.
And the last time that we saw Vitality defend this site against Ents, they totally contained Ents inside of archives upstairs and in Fountain and in office, and Ents had no way of getting around it, and right now that's exactly what Penta is struggling with. They once again are finding this defense inside of offices. You've got the 2 mirrors situated in such a way as a grenade will go out, and that'll take Raphael, as he had no chance to get away. Well timed by Fabian. That'll be the first kill for Penta on the board. That dreaded 3v5 advantage could narrow once again, but Pengu hesitates for just a second, sees the foot, and now it's all tied up. Bibu frozen in place by Fountain, and they have top control. Pengu will get yet another. That's his 8th kill, proving why he is one of the most consistent players in this region. And now, what was an advantage for Vitality has gone in favor of Penta.
And this is the second round in a row that has happened. Now you're going to see Fabian moving his way over to Archives. He will get Spark, having an amazing match so far. Fabian and Pengu, really the story of this one. Zephyr, now the final defender. And as an EE1D pops off, he's got the red light. But what is this? The most notable thing for me is we have a whole minute left in this round. And there's really not a whole lot going for the Jaeger because of that. Usually at this point, you'd see maybe 20 seconds be left, and all he has to do is wait out the time, but no.
I don't think they saw him. Fabian's drone did not see the leg of the Jaeger behind the vending machine, and you can tell from the way that Penta is situated that they know, or presume at least, that he is in sight, but don't know where. They droned him out, and there you go. They'll ping where his position is, and they'll look to jump in, waiting to see if there's an EE1D available for them. But for the time being, they're just waiting and trying to isolate Zephyr as they get in and around areas where he has no chance to be able to pop off. Still confused as to where his position is. Shate will go for the plant, just behind the vending machine. Zephyr will run out, and Pengu, oh my. That F2 just chews through the Jaeger, and we are at match point for Penta on Vitality's map already.
That absolute denial of the rotation from Zephyr there. He was attempting to deny the plant of the diffuser, but it's just not going to happen. So, match point, as he said. And it's been pretty brisk, I would say. Most of the attack rounds from Vitality have been faster than usual, which is something we should probably talk about. They have been on their toes, I think, trying to make it so Penta can't so easily read their assaults. Meanwhile, on Penta's side of things, well, I want to say uncharacteristically fast rounds for Penta, but I would just take a step back there and say uncharacteristically fast rounds, period, for Rainbow Six Siege esports. These attacks from Penta have been extremely fast.
Lion is in part big thanks to that too. I mean, we've seen the speed for every attack get quickened because of Lion as an operator. I mean, freezing people in place, using the speed advantage, being able to take so much ground. I mean, one of the biggest stumbling blocks for so many of these teams are clearing out the roamers. I mean, we used to live in a world where if you could roam and chew off 90 seconds of the clock so that they finally got a kill onto the roamer at a minute 30 to go, you've been very successful. Now your roamers, if they can kill 40 seconds, have done a successful job.
Fabian just trying to find a spot where he can put his drone on the ceiling can be a pain sometimes. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I think the roamers have been kind of put into a corner with this latest meta, and that is where we exist right now, and teams have to adapt to it. I mean, that's just the story of Siege Esports, isn't it? You know, one of the most dominant teams in Europe, especially Penta specifically. What is their main trait? Well, we've talked about it a couple times already. It's the adaptation, and what it gives them the most success is that adaptation. So, yeah, I mean, you talk about the meta that's to do with operators and where we stand right now. It's something similar there. You just have to adapt. You have to get used to what is there to be dealt with.
So this is do or die for Vitality. We'll see if the adaptations are going to be there for Vitality as they start on attack for our could-be final round if it continues on in this direction.
So I want to say Vitality haven't won an attack yet, and that's true, but they also haven't won a defense yet. So, you know, there's not a lot really going for them here. And if what we've seen so far continues, it's just going to be Penta continuing, well, pushing that snowball and letting it roll down the hill.
That snowball just eventually turning into a greater avalanche as all of it cascades. Fabian will give his position away as we hit the halfway mark, and this has been, once again, for Vitality, this is the trait that we have seen from them so many times. A lot of patience, a lot of information being used and given to these teams. Fabian running the Supernova Bearing 9 composition will allow him some destructibility to take that role of a smoke, which is absent on Penta's lineup.
I mean, if you look at most recent times, what is the primary clutch weapon, the primary weapon in general for those operators? It's the Bearing 9. Bearing 9 is a fantastic primary weapon on your secondary slot. You may as well bring the shotgun so you can do that site construction, like you say, and avoid bringing the smoke.
Now, Goga just rotated, but did so mid EE1D. So two reasons why this could happen. One, could have needed it to stay alive, or two, could have used it as a distraction. Because for the time being, you've got only a very short period of this round left, and everybody is still alive.
But that's what Vitality thrives in, so they're going to have to be able to push past the Penta defense, and Spark's going to start it off with the kill onto Jonas. So that's very good. From the front door, the Bandit eliminated. Not a relevant operator, but definitely a relevant player. Fabian still, actually seems to have lost his Yokai drone already. From above, Pengu denying the push into bathroom, and that's the Ash of Bibu, who will actually see his window and use it. Now has bathroom control as Pengu rotates. But oh so little time as the last EE1D pops off in this round. Bibu will get Pengu, player above, and here we go, a diffuser plant all the while. Kills for Vitality, nothing for Penta, and it's just Shate in a 1 versus 5. Oh my. We all have those moments, Shate, but he's gonna have to retake from the bottom floor, from the top floor, and he's got a castle barricade actually working against him here. Looking for anything he can grasp onto, but it doesn't seem like Vitality are gonna give him a single kill. Brid will finish off Shate, and that not only is the first round for Vitality, but also a perfect, flawless round, and they did not lose a single life.
You put all of your faith on the shoulders of Shate, who is still struggling to find his first kill throughout this matchup.
No way, really?
He is. Shate had, I mean, prior to the start of this round, Shate had not been on the board, which is very interesting because the fact that Penta is doing this with Shate working as a support and not actually doing much killing. And I mean, he's an operator, or he's a player who can use operators to top frag on your team, whether it be on an anchor or a roam, even though Shate is typically staying in that supporting or anchor site of play. So Penta will go to the attack, and for Vitality onto defense. Vitality desperately needed that, and there you can see Shate still not on the board. Zafir just ahead by 1 kill, but for Penta it's very top heavy with Pengu doing all that work.
Yeah, Pengu, and there has been some support as well from the likes of Fabian. Penta has been doing really well so far in this match. Now, okay, not very many kills in the way of Shate, that's for sure. But we've only seen 5 rounds played, and it's a little bit deceptive, right? Because we're on match point at this point already. Match point at this point. We're on match point, and it seems like Penta are walking away with it. But match point, and it's been so fast each of these rounds, except for the previous one that we just saw Vitality get their very first win. So not having any kills is a little bit more acceptable than if this had been a back and forth slugfest and we're going to overtime, for example.
I am impressed with the way that Vitality have been doing their opening pushes, but then they haven't been gaining much control from that. And because of it, you see Penta, even at a numbers disadvantage, are still able to get 1, 2, or 3 kills to not only close that gap, but completely disrupt the push that we would see from Vitality. And I mean, it's been a couple rounds now where it seems like Vitality will get 1 or 2 opening kills and then have a good position heading into the final parts of the round, and it's Penta always being able to answer back.
Yeah, and kind of oddly, it was the round we just watched that Vitality managed to win. And in that round, they did not get any early kills. In fact, it was, I believe, a 5v5. It's still 40-ish seconds around that area where Eunice died by the front door. But yeah, and they managed to make that one work for them. So I guess maybe that's just a story of Vitality really thriving in their late round environment. But who really knows? Pengu going to move his way over to the north balcony. He's all out of shock drones. And because of that, these mirror windows will still be intact, delaying the pushes. These are well-placed mirror windows. One facing towards Archives, but the castle barricade destroyed, and Shate will shut down Spark and the position of that mirror window. Fabian will get Brid. That's 2 for Penta. Now Vitality, match point right now. They need to get this round win, but Pengu's going to entry into the site, get Raphael, and Zafir and Vivo go down. Not the site, my bad, but that's GG. Penta take the first map of this best-of-3 border in 5-1 fashion.
Man, that was a brisk set of kills there. I feel like all 5 of those kills came within the window of 10 seconds, and that's all it really took. And now Penta has established themselves. They lost 1 round. It looked like Vitality might have gained some momentum from that, but nope. No dice whatsoever. Shate did manage to find a kill. That was the opening kill onto Spark that he needed to stave off finishing this with 0 kills on the board. And that was a very fast border match. And I mean, we know Penta is good on border, don't get me wrong, but with Vitality taking it, you figure we've seen how good Vitality has looked on that matchup. And now as we head to Oregon, what is going to be the lesson here to be learned from this loss from Vitality?
The lesson is apparently don't bring Penta to border. But the thing is, we say that about a lot of maps with Penta. I feel like that's kind of the story of Penta. Don't bring Penta to X. And that's just another name added to the list of border. So they're going to have to think about that in the future. It was, again, as you said, it was their map pick. So next time Vitality gets a chance to go into this matchup against Penta, don't go to that map. And the thing is, Vitality had to have planned to bring them to border. They had to have thought to themselves, okay, we need to pick a Penta map that they like to play, that they're not going to ban, and we need to practice that and get ready to play against Penta on that map and just have something up our sleeves. And that seemed like the idea for Vitality just based on the ban phase, but it really didn't work out for them.
No. I mean, I I'm surprised with this result. I definitely thought that it was going to be closer than a 5-1, and there were a couple rounds as well where it looked like Vitality were just inches away from being able to outmuscle Penta, but their retakes was what really shone for me in the way that Penta played, was they were very successful in almost all but one retake Penta was successful in. That speaks to how good they are under pressure and never letting the fact that they're down a man or two get to their heads. Oregon sets the stage for map 2. This is Penta's map. We know Penta is comfortable on this map. We know Vitality is good on Oregon too. Maybe not as strong as they are on Border, but they're going to need a better performance. Vitality is going to need a better performance than we saw on map 1 in order to send this to map 3.
That's absolutely accurate. Penta going to be bringing a singular hard destructor, Habana, but a very, very heavy disruption setup. Blitz, Sophia, Dokabi, and Lion, all of those operators contributing to that disruption tagline. And that is going to be oh so difficult to deal with. On the defensive side, we do have a lot of things in place to delay, though, as well. The Legion, the mirror windows, the gas canisters, and 2 potential C4s. Not sure what Raphael's using, but still, lots of utility there for the defense.
Brit is going to decide to reinforce the top of White Stairs, which means that I suspect there's probably going to be a mirror going down there. A lot of teams will open that up so that they can play around a potential mirror window at crouch level, or even just have a rotate hole in there too.
Bomb located by
Pretty standard mirror window that Brit has just put in, so
10 seconds left.
we'll give them a vantage point, and then they'll open up the rotate hole that usually goes in behind the down
5
bunk
seconds
bed.
remaining.
That's in between the 2 reinforced panels. So I mean, Vitality's not really doing anything too odd at this point.
Yeah, the only thing is that, as you say, that mirror window at the top of White Stairs, what happens there is if you put that mirror window down, you place more emphasis on holding that top of White. The mirror window's not exactly going to work against you as long as you have Big Kid Storms, because the player in Big Kid Storms can always shoot it open. But if you lose top of White, then it becomes a lot easier for the attack to move their way in through Master and Master Closet to get the plant. Whereas you know, if you have a rotation hole open there, then the defenders can just rotate through a secondary lane. You kind of bottleneck yourself and force yourself into one spot. That's why they open up next to the shelf. So I like the setup there for Vitality, but it's definitely going to change the way they have to play that spot. You can see Pengu has some information on his opponents, and he will be hit by his own teammate's lifeline. Bibu's going to get Goga as he holds Fierce in that kitchen, and from above, Raphael going to help out, get Pengu. So Vitality really strong in this round at least. And the C4 will damage Shate quite a lot, but the flash will be successful, and he gets Spark, who attempts to rotate. So at least one in favor of Penta. And you can't count out Penta yet, but Bibu will shut down Fabian. Eunice trying to contest with his own pistol, and it's just not going to be able to land the shots.
This has been a really lackluster entry from Penta thus far, and Vitality has read it. This over-aggression that we've seen from Penta has been countered easily and effectively. I mean, they've really struggled on this roam clear, and it's been a little disjointed. They haven't had as many bodies being able to commit, especially the Legion. But hey, Jonas takes the head off of Rafael. Shate has been down trying to take care of Bibu, and Zephyr now, or Zephyr will take out Shate, and it's all on the shoulders of Jonas, who really needs to find his footing here.
Yeah, Jonas is definitely an extremely skilled player, as we all know. He has been known to win these, but this is about as bad as the situation could be. He's got to contest the mirror window as he comes up White Stairs. He's got to come up White Stairs. He's got to reload his primary weapon, but no, he's just going to go with the pistol out. Kind of an interesting decision-making process there from Jonas. I guess he kind of gave up on the round. Doesn't matter, though. Brid will finish him off. Vitality win that one out. And first round going in the favor of the currently losing team. That's really good for your momentum and mentality.
And it's a good start. Now, I mean, that's also a composition and a lineup that we really haven't seen much from Penta. So it could just be them trying things out. I mean, when Penta was playing against Mocket, they brought out a Frost, which I would suspect is probably not in any universe part of their actual strategy. Could just be trying things out, maybe just having fun or that sort of thing. I mean, you have that great of a lead, you can take a round or two to try some new things.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think Frost is probably the best trap operator, easily through and through. I mean, her bear traps are so hard to see. So, yeah.
Oh, you're joking.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm bad at it. I should stop.
That's okay. Vitality wins round number 1. Shate and Jonas were the only real 2 standouts. Both Pengu and Fabian were found early on. Same with Goga. Goga was pinched incredibly quick into the round. And now we're going to see, once again, dorms upstairs is the most defendable site now because of the way that Oregon is played out. So both teams are going to quarrel over this site in particular.
The main thing for me on that last round was just Penta seemed, you talked about it a little bit, they were tripping over themselves. I mean, the lifelines from Jonas were hitting his own teammates, right? There was no Ella on the defense, so those Gersmots weren't happening, but still we have a concussed Pengu, right? What's happening there? What is going on with the comms? And they seem to have a good idea, they just couldn't actually execute it properly under that kitchen clear. Speaking of kitchen clear, Vitality.
That's where they're going to be going.
Exactly. They have also brought a Montaigne, which is different.
We've actually seen a resurgence of Montaigne on this map in particular, usually to attack the basement. I mean, hey, it was Fabian who made that strategy up at the Invitational as he was standing on the stage waiting to go out in their first match against ENCE, where he said, you know what, let's just bring a Monty and bring him through the meeting hall and use him to essentially roam clear. Fabian
definitely renowned as one of the top IGLs in Siege and really a bright mind in this game.
A tactician, as I think a lot of people would call him, and he's able to work with a strong coach as well in Shafts. Now, a lot of pressure being applied onto Kitchen and just outside of Bathroom as Vitality is tantalizingly close to first contact, though Bibu, a great shot, will be outdueled by Goga, and that's the Ella defeating the Ashe, and a matchup that we used to see a lot of way back in the day.
Yeah, Ella's seeing a lot less play, but Goga definitely making her work in this round. And Vitality, typical to Vitality, I guess, have been taking this very slowly, but it just seems like they're hitting a wall and not able to vault it. Here come those EE1Ds and the push from the shield operator. Now inside of Showers from behind the Hibana, not able to hit those shots. And Goga and Jonas going to support their teammate inside of Showers with 1 kill each. Jonas now trying to contest this push from Classroom, and that is Brid using Dokabi and the secondary weapon. From behind though, Shate, he's looking to help out his scoreboard, and he will do just that as Jonas gets a knife kill onto Spark.
And they basically just circled the Dokabi as well. Inside a Classroom trap, they had one lined up at the main door. You saw that Shate was creeping onto the armory stairs, and no way out whatsoever. Penta picks up their very first round that time on really good tactical precision.
Yeah, I like the way they maneuvered around, as you said, the Vitality attack. Props to them for that. I also really do appreciate the crossfires and the various different ways they were trying to hold angles over by the kitchen. There was no player that was exposed without backup in the kitchen Showers area from Penta. Not one. Every single one of those 3 roamers downstairs had someone there to support them. So whenever you would see somebody getting pressured, whether it be Jonas, Goga, doesn't really matter, there would be another player on Penta there to back them up and give them a crossfire, which was what allowed ultimately for the Montaigne to be eliminated without him being useful at all in that round. Something else worth noting is it wasn't necessarily that Vitality weren't droning very efficiently, it was more that Penta were shutting down the drones. Now, I have intentionally overshadowed this a little bit because it's a little earth-shattering.
5 seconds to go.
But what's going on here, Parker?
I have no idea. Once again, Vitality going with odd sites. That's what's going on here. Let's look back at when they played ENCE, and we will see they did not play on Oregon. So, I mean,
they did play odd sites, though, on a couple different occasions. I mean, they're known for their odd sites. I'd say they are the SK of Europe, in a sense. But it's...
They did go to Tower,
dude.
When they played Digital Chaos on Oregon, they did actually go to Tower.
Okay.
So Vitality defended bunks, downstairs, Tower, and kitchen. So Vitality went to all 4 sites, the same as they did on Border when they played against ENCE. So flexibility on this matchup, and they won their Tower hold against DC too.
I mean, that was a much more one-sided matchup, I think, in favor of Vitality. But Bibu gonna get Jonas. Shate will respond onto Zephyr. The west clear now eliminated. You can see Brit going to reinforce that attic as he attempts to fall back off of the west side of the building. It's a good cutoff point, and you can see that Fabian is just calling that out now for his team. There is still one player inside of attic, I believe. I can't quite tell from this angle, but yes, he will drop down. Anyway, yes, the tower defense is definitely intriguing, and it seems to be working out so far for them, as Spark will get Fabian, and just a simple push in there from the tower doorway. Now, there's no more Lion because of that Fabian loss, and as a result, not an E1D will be popped moving forward. But there's still a good amount of utility in hand for Penta. They're going to be able to clear out a lot of electronics using that Twitch drone, which has finally been eliminated. And Shate got that raw pushing power once he can get hit into a position to be useful.
That's so important to take care of that Lion as well. Pengu was going and trying to force a bullet pen kill onto that soft wall by Generator. And he sees him and he'll knock him down and finish him off. Bibu, that is a great spot from Pengu that you don't often see people playing at. That F2's destruction, caliber-based destruction is important. But look, they also have control of sight. They can get a plant off at A at any moment. Pengu takes out Spark, and he'll get downed himself. He'll need to get picked up, and Rafael playing on backstairs. He sees the Twitch, but that MP5 can't do it. Pengu will get another kill, and it's only Brid left. And what a round from Pengu! Oh my! How many is he going to steal for Penta as they take the lead on Oregon?
Pengu just waltzing in through that tower doorway and kill after subsequent kill. What a great round from him. It just seemed like there were a lot of things established for Vitality, a lot of angles established for Vitality to hold that doorway, and they were contesting them, sure, but they were contesting those angles one at a time. Never a double up onto Pengu, as he was allowed to pick an angle at his leisure, challenge it, and win that fight, as he is so well known for doing. So, tower defense not working.
Not this time. I like the composition that Vitality is running to attack Laundry. Now, because dorms have been locked out by Penta on their defense, they'll go downstairs. I wonder if we're going to start to see maybe more kitchen and more tower just because of how ineffective some defenses work down on the laundry and supply room. I mean, you can bring a Thatcher, you can take care of the mutes quite easily. You bring a Ying, you possibly bring a Capitao, you bring a Lion, of course, maybe a shield operator, and it's very easy to just pin the defenders in place once you've cleared out the rest of the building and make laundry supply room a nightmare to try to defend. I would imagine with Penta we're probably going to see a heavy presence on that second floor and maybe one body on the main floor with their two anchors downstairs.
5 seconds
On the
left.
note of roamers that you were just talking about, we actually haven't seen a successful roam clear yet on this map. We've seen 3 rounds now, and it has been a bit of a mixed bag. 2 defense wins, 1 attack win. But we haven't seen a successful roam clear. That last round that we just saw the attack win, there was 1 roamer eliminated, sure, but there were still roamers established when they executed onto the site. And the reason Penta won the round is because they had the site control that they needed. Pengu got those kills, but it wasn't on the roam. And then in previous rounds, Vitality were able to win their first round, their first defense on that top floor, because they were so efficient at holding that kitchen. And then it was the same exact thing for Penta when they went to the top floor. So the roamers really actually, against current meta standards, being very influential in this match so far.
First contact is going to be Fabian as he takes some shots from outside a big window. That's Bibu playing on that angle. Strangely not running the elite skin. I thought everybody was. It seems to be quite in vogue. But they're still trying to clear out upstairs. So this is the heavy investment up top. The only one upstairs, though, is Fabian. He's got an escape hatch, and he's going to use it. Pull that ripcord and just get out of there.
Which elite skin? The one with that looks really cool, or the one that looks really cool and has a little bit of camo?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
Whichever one you want to go with. So the escape hatch that was used by Fabian, Bibu will now place himself at, waiting to see if he will drop. Jonas is there, of course, to catch him if need be, and now they'll be frozen in place as this is the power of Montaigne. Fabian will rotate, though, knowing that he's safely downstairs. He's encapsulated by those hard walls in the basement. And now, some phone calls going off. Zephyr is going to absorb some bullets just outside the pantry, and he's going to push. Bibu will likely now drop with the safety of the shield in front of him. They know that the phones are ringing away and will need to be silenced, and that's Penta doing that. But Jonas is going to get droned out, and he's going to be in for a world of hurt unless he can win this one.
So Bibu going to open up the top of attic, and he will put some fire down onto the player inside of that attic, but inexplicably lets the kill walk away. Spark will shut him down. That's Pengu as he drops, not able to get all the way back into sight. Bibu will get Eunice, who is playing inside of Meeting Hall. Now Penta losing control over the roamers, and that is the first really effectual roam clear we have seen so far from an attacking team. Well done to Vitality, shutting down that Meeting Hall hold, but they still have hurdles to jump over. As you can see, Shate still alive behind the mirror window inside of the closet and has his gas canisters well in hand.
And you've got Goga creeping up as well. If there's no flank watch, but he can't land enough of his shot, that's going to leave a lot of pressure on just Fabian and Shate, who will play from below. They've got 20 seconds. Fabian will rotate. He gives himself away. Shate guarding that one Miro, watching towards the bottom of Laundry Stairs. He'll toss out another smoke. That's his last remote gas grenade. He'll have to push up and do work manually. He'll get downed, and now Fabian trying for kills, but he's running out of time. He knows he's got a Monte in there, and they double up on him. No chance. Zafir will get the kill and equalize things as it's tied up 2 apiece. Fabian tried his best, could not make it work. And Zafir is there to drop the shield and get the pistol out. The Monty does the work himself.
So here we go. This is the back and forth that we were looking forward to on Oregon. Border just seemingly too much Penta's map, and finally a little bit of a match fight put up by Vitality. Now, they're going to be going on to defense next, and they have done some interesting things on defense so far. They went to the top floor, they made that work. They went to tower, that did not work. Now, because they went to tower, they're going to be able to go back to that top floor, which they're trying to just solidify as many rounds as they possibly can, and choosing to cut down on experimentation. I really got to say I appreciate that from Vitality, and it's going to be up to Penta to change their attack strategy, because last time they were here, they couldn't hack it.
Very even between these two teams in the way that they have played. Fabian has really been the one to die early, though, and I don't know if they're utilizing him in such a way that he is that entry that is supposed to be dying early, or if it just happens to be circumstance.
I mean, it could also make sense. I mean, he's the IGL, right? He can IGL post-mortem. He doesn't have to be IGLing in the middle of the round all the time while he's still alive. So it would make sense in a lot of ways if you put him on the entry roll frag, the entry frag roll. But in this case, not going to be what's happening. You can see Fabian, he is playing Lion, which is about as far from entry frag as you can get, really. You could put Lion on entry, but it's questionable.
That Valkyrie cam gets spotted immediately by Pengu, so they'll be able to shoot away at it as he placed his drone just by the door. And we'll see if somebody from Penta can take care of it. I don't know if it actually looks like they've gotten it. It also looks like they left the default cam up as well.
A little bit of a whoopsie there. I sincerely hope they turn around and see that default cam at some point. Well, it's possible that it could go unnoticed. We'll see if it's still up in just a second here. And yeah, it does look like it's still up.
Hard to tell from that angle. It looks like Marcy's saying no. So
no?
We'll see.
Okay, he's shaking the camera.
But did they get the camera? Hard to tell. It looks like it might be gone. There's a bullet hole there.
Yeah,
they took care of that.
So shut down on the cameras. They have the flank watch established with the Claymore, and now they're just looking to take into tower as well as repel on these north windows so they can pressure the site. So I like the change here from Penta. Instead of doing what they did the last time they came to attack this site, where they cleared in through the bottom floor, or not the bottom floor, rather just the west side kitchen, that didn't work out for them. So now instead they're going to try and just push in through the windows.
And the first EE1D will mean that everybody gets frozen in place, and they're lined up for a push in through that big window, as you'd mentioned it. Some suppressing fire from Pengu will go through the window into kids' dorms, but doesn't find a target at the moment. Half the round gone, they need to burn any ADSs that exist. There are, of course, none, so now they can just fire in with reckless abandon, but 2 from Bibu! He takes out Shate and Jonas before Pengu can get on the board, and Fabian in sight will take 1 through the smoke. Brit eliminates Pengu, and Spark taking out Goga means that it's all up to Fabian, and what a pushback from the French. Vitality buffing every single push that you could see from Penta, and now it's just Fabian will give his position away by shooting away at that armory cam. He's got control of White Stairs. The Legion will try to get back to site. Fabian manages to evade those rails. He gets spotted for just a moment on that Valkyrie cam. There's another playing inside of Big Dorms. He has possession, but the diffuser is down, and you can see Brit and Spark are waiting for Fabian to go get it.
Spark's going to get Fabian as he vaults in through that west window. Not much hope for him there, and there you go. Vitality, absolutely staunch defense. They were not letting a single thing go against them. As Penta, they coordinated that attack very well. I have to say, their vault timing, their execution of utility, the smoke placement, just everything in general was well done from Penta, and that's what makes it even more impressive for Vitality that they were able to win that defense. They saw the attack starting to ramp up. They saw that assault start happening. The EE1D prompted them and said, hey, we're going to push now, and Vitality responded with their own pushback, as you said earlier.
So rebuffed was the word I would use to describe that. They rebuffed them as they tried to push it. Penta finds themselves trailing yet again. They did hold the lead very briefly. They've lost it, and this is, why did we not see this on Border? I mean,
Border's just a Penta map, it seems.
I mean, I would say in large part Oregon is a map that Penta can excel at too, but that's not the case here right now.
Yeah. They didn't have very much luck on Border, that's for sure. But now we're here on Oregon, and this is the match I talked about earlier. This is the match that we were all expecting between Vitality and Penta. Vitality was like so well this season, and to see them go in a 5-1 on any map just kind of seems surprising. But here we go. They now have the lead, and by the way, this is the lead for the very first time for Vitality, I believe.
Since the first round.
Since the first round, yeah.
They've looked good on defense, very good on defense. And I mean, even Tower came very close. It could have swung in their favor if it wasn't for Pengu's enormous personal effort at the end as the rest of his team was getting picked apart and taken down. So now with Penta on defense, are they going to be as successful Dorms once again? As you pointed out, where most teams will always want to go, and they will have that opportunity to do so.
I mean, I don't think we've seen a successful Dorms attack yet. It's been pretty heavily in favor of the defensive teams on Dorms. So, I mean, Penta, if trend continues, will get their win here. We'll see it even out into 3-3, but Fabian's been lit up already. And you can see Vitality are starting to drone their way over to Meeting Hall, which is actually a really good read. If they can take control over Tower as well as Meeting Hall and lock down those roamers, it's going to be specifically Jonas, then they will give themselves a lot of control, and it'll mean they can push onto these north windows, which is similar to what Penta was trying to do last round.
So you've got a lot of investment in Meeting Hall, which has been the story for every single round. They've got, right now, the Vigil of Shate playing there. Fabian's the only one who's taken any damage so far in the matchup. We hit the halfway mark through round number 6. Another EE1D will make everybody stop in place. You've got Bibu and Zafir, who will throw down one asphyxiating bolt. Pengu will take some damage. He'll try to outduel the Capitao. He misses his shots. The Capitao will manage to get away unscathed. Zafir being very, very fortunate. The Vigil using his ability, his cloaking device. Try to watch as those flashes go in and just turns around. He'll stop his ability to see the Ash, and oh, Shate, why do you peek that? Bibu takes his head off, and Vitality gets the first kill with a minute to go.
Shate just trying to establish an advantage there, and as a result, he will give the advantage away. Vitality now, in the last 50 seconds, this is an environment they're very used to, so you can't put this against them. As the EE1D pops off, Spark will get a long shot onto Jonas, and that's the roamer who is coming back to site. Rotation now cut off. Most of the players from Penta are actually downstairs. The only anchor is going to be Pengu, the singular smoke. And they're trying to use those holes from below to deny the push into the site. Here comes an EE1D. And it looks like Goga's watching the wrong window right now. Spark on that main west window to cut off rotation. Bibu in the site getting that diffuse plant. Spark will get Pengu. Raphael gets Fabian, and it's all Goga. He will finally get Raphael. And now he's got to find 4 more. In a post plant, Brid will save his teammate. The Ash exposed. Bibu not looking the right way, but Brid is. And Vitality will take yet another round, putting them, look at that, on match point.
We thought after the way Border concluded that this could potentially have been a very fast 2-0 from Penta, but not the case. Vitality is pushing back. And this is the maybe just a slow start for Vitality, coupled with the fact that Penta is very comfortable on Border. That's what we could be looking at if we want to speculate.
And I think that's fair speculation.
Yes.
It's pretty easily assessed that just by looking at the score lines of these two maps. And not only is it match point now for Vitality, but that was also the very first successful attack onto the top floor. So major props to them for that. Their execution was pretty much flawless. The way that they handled that was well done. they had the Blackbeard stay on the main west window to cut off rotation, and from that west window, I believe it was Spark who managed to get a lot of work in using that DMR. He cut off that rotation from the roamers coming back to the site. He cut off the rotation in the post plant, during the plant. Just in general, that's a big needle being put through the defense of Penta, denying those rotations. And then more importantly, we had the clear over by tower. Now, Penta didn't try to contest tower on defense. They just let Vitality take it. And once Vitality had tower in hand, they just moved their way over to the north windows, and they started vaulting in and getting frags the whole while. You have to wonder if Shate hadn't given his life away inside of Big Kid's dorms, had this have been, or had that round have been, had that round have had a different result. That's what I was trying to say.
So this honestly, if tower had gone in one way in Vitality, if they maybe just had him not pushed aggressively, especially the Rook trying to take out Pengu, this could have been already over in a 5-1 in favor of Vitality. So Penta has more than their work cut out for them. They are gifted, however, a defense downstairs in Laundry's supply room, and a site that has not been very useful for a lot of defensive teams. So if Vitality is able to come away with this and also take the series, they will need a lot of credit for the way that they hold off on a push that usually at this juncture, this point in juncture, will favor the attackers.
Yeah, we actually haven't seen, we've only seen the one basement defense, I want to say, so far. So there's not a lot to work with here. It was, of course, Penta's attempt, so now Vitality, I believe, on their very first go on this site. Yeah, it could be that this is just a little bit of a change here, that Vitality is going to force forward as being their advantage, allowing them to get the win.
So they've put a lot of pressure on Meeting Hall right now. You've seen the Vitality has fallen back a little bit, but a lifeline will go out and concuss the Pulse, allowing Penta to possibly push in. Shate will just narrowly evade that teammate Gadget that goes sailing over his head. And they've already used a lot of their utility to keep this Meeting Hall push out. But Rafael is fighting back. The UMP just unable to out DPS Jonas, who takes one down, and he'll drop. He's inside a site. Jonas is just lying prone as a gas canister will go over top of him. He cannot take out Zafir. Will manage to do some damage before he gets pinched. And now Penta, who has control, will need to push the site.
An interesting move there, to be sure, from Jonas. He was just trying to cut off rotation into the closet, but it didn't happen. Bibu will get Fabian as well. Upstairs, he's got a great position and still an impact to spare, so he might be able to use that for another rotation. Penta trying to get their push on, but it's just not happening, and they have used a lot of their utility as well as lost a lot of their utility. Fabian, the Lion, no longer with the attack, and there is still at least 3 tactical crossbows. That's probably 1 asphyxiating, 2 smokes, which is going to be very useful as the push comes out.
Goga will need to drop. He's in default spot, getting the plant off. Can Brid be successful in the Nitro Cell? He'll just rush right through, but it's the smoke of Zafir that will stop the T-plant. So Goga will now have 20 seconds to get that plant down. Brid watches the hatch to see. He sees the Capitao rotate. He knows that there's one. They don't have their heads on straight. Brid takes off Goga's, and now Penta facing elimination as Pengu takes out Brid. This is match point. Shate nor Pengu have that diffuser. They'll have to go frag hunting, and Shate gets 2. It's only 1 left. How does Penta win this? Oh my, Vitality was in such a good spot, but Penta battles back, and they take the round. Incredible.
Surely, that was a Vitality win through and through. Penta spent so much utility trying to push their way into Meeting Hall to be completely, as you said earlier, rebuffed. They attacked onto the Maginot line, and Vitality held firm. But eventually, Penta turned around and just went around and walked into the site, getting the kills. And what should be a very easy win for Vitality, just, okay, they're pushing the site, contest them on the mirror window, shoot them as you normally would, and win those fights. They just didn't. They didn't win the fights. And because of that, Vitality will get 1 step closer to overtime here on Oregon.
So the only way that Penta can win is through extra innings. If we go to OT, they'll go upstairs to dorms. The last time we saw them, last round, or 2 rounds ago rather, completely fell apart. They were pushed off of kids' dorms They had too much presence downstairs. Shades of the FaZe and Liquid matchup, in which they both, Liquid and FaZe, committed so many bodies downstairs so many times, and it just did not work out. So for PENTA, I would imagine that they're probably going to put more pressure on sticking to the site, or else they could end up getting swept away. And then PENTA would be eliminated from this map, and we'll go to Coastline for the tiebreaker.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse.
Now, the roaming has been pretty effective so far on Oregon, especially on this top floor hold. But we did see PENTA actually fall victim when they lost the very first top floor defense. We did see them fall victim to not enough anchors, because it was Pengu was the very last person who was holding on the site. So I think you're right. I think putting a little bit more emphasis on the actual site itself, something that PENTA is going to have to think about here. Now, Vitality, on the other hand, what are they going to do here? They tried to attack from tower and B windows last time they were here. I believe they actually were successful in that endeavor. And the question is that what they're going to be going for again? Because at this point, it's very clearly red from PENTA, and they're going to have something in place, that's for sure, to counter this take. And that actually might be the roamer over by tower, who knows. Jonas, of course, playing over. It is the roamer over by tower. It's Goga. Look at that. At the top of tower.
He's already taken a minute off the clock. He's got an ADS for himself, but take a look at what Zephyr is bringing to the table. Those crossbow bolts from Capitao are immune to the ADS. So the Jaeger will have no benefit with his gadget nearby.
You know, I remember when those bolts were first announced as being immune to ADSs, and everyone was like, "Oh no, what is happening?" But it actually turned out to be a good balancing decision. Raphael going to take out Goga, so that's that roam up in tower, being eliminated, shut down, and the counterplay from PENTA, realizing that Vitality is going to put emphasis on tower and the north windows, has been, wow, even more counterplay eliminated as Raphael gets a Claymore kill onto Fabian. So a double kill for the Thermite, I believe, in this round, and now Vitality looking like they're going to push it to map 3.
I mean, don't count out PENTA. They've been in a 3v5, and like we said, 3v5 is the least safe, the most vulnerable spot and advantage to find yourself in. Vitality does need to work quickly, though. They have 45 seconds. They've taken out 2 off-site players, but Jonas will bandit trick successfully. He lost a small bit of his safety net in Attic, but now Brit is going to be in a chance to possibly push in, but the bandit frozen in place. All of PENTA will be frozen in place. A drone will not spot Pengu. It actually does look like it will now, and he'll toss a Toxic Babe down, and a second will go too. This will allow him to rotate as he will need to. He will avoid those toxic, or that asphyxiating bolt, and now, in an act of desperation, will toss out another Toxic Babe. 5v3 in favor of Vitality. Oh, the bag of Shate. He'll get jumped on. They pounce into the site, and now with Jonas down, it's going to be Pengu on a clutch or kick scenario, but Vitality puts it away, and we'll go to Coastline. The French strike back on Oregon. These two teams will take each other's maps, and a third will be required.
Good avs come out in the chat, and this is what we all, this is what many people expected of this matchup. Now, the scary thing is now, whoever loses on Coastline, not going to be able to go to that LAN event, and a lot of expectations for both teams to be there. So now we're getting down to just the narrowest gap for either team.
It was another French team that put PENTA onto a tiebreaker. That was Millennium, who gave them a tough fight just a couple weeks ago, but PENTA was able to power through. The one thing I'm looking at is for Vitality. They played on Coastline against Ents. That was, of course, the scene where Spark got that beautiful clutch that you were able to put the voice to, and Vitality won it by a score of 5-2. So the thing for me is that, look, we know that PENTA is very comfortable on Coastline. We know that they're a team that has practiced on Coastline, and we know that this is a map where their strategies excel. They're not walking in blind, but same with Vitality. And there's going to be footage from both of these teams, as both of them have played Coastline this season. Of course, PENTA played it versus Mockit, and then we saw Vitality play it against Ents.
And if we're talking about both teams being prepared, we're talking about both teams having strategies, we're talking about both teams having VODs on this map, then I'm going to give the edge to PENTA. Because, as we talked about, and I feel like I've broken record at this point, adaptation, adaptation, adaptation. And in the middle of a match, That's what really matters the most. And going on to Coastline, yeah, there's going to be some new stuff. There's going to be some old stuff from both sides of the fence, but it's the team that's going to be able to adapt to the newer stuff, the slight edges that both teams, the tricks up the sleeve that both teams will have. The team that can adapt to that will be the one to win.
So could we see a very quick match? Could we see it go the full distance? How sweet it would be to have overtime on a tiebreaker matchup. They're just waiting to switch sides. It's bathroom break, so we have about a minute or two until we actually go live. Oregon, what happened to Penta on Oregon there? They looked sloppy. As much as I want to give some praise to Vitality, at the same time, I think it was Penta making a number of errors. Their drone and entry was not very strong, and they got pinched on roaming too many times. Even though they killed some time, which is, you know, your focus, still ineffective on that roam.
So let's just run it through from top to bottom in terms of round count. First round, Vitality managed to take a defense to the top floor. The reason they were so successful there is they had a really impeccable roam in the kitchen that Penta could not handle. They just couldn't. Penta did the same thing, though. They went onto the top floor defense. They roamed downstairs. Vitality couldn't get past those roamers. Then a tower defense from Vitality, and it seemed like Vitality were actually going to make it work, but Pengu stepping up, I believe he got a 4K. Whatever the case, he got quite a lot of frags in that round, coming in through just the tower door. Regardless, it was a one-man army in that situation, and he managed to push that forward for Penta. So that's not to do with their team play as much as it is just an individual player stepping up and in one great situation. And then we started seeing the basement defense come out. It was Penta were the first ones to go there. And the basement defense, we talked about it before, not a site that's really all that viable right now. And Penta could not make that work for them. Vitality able to execute well onto that site coming from just the main lobby. And then it just started to spiral out of control for Penta as we started going on to more top floor sites, and especially when Vitality won the very first attack onto the top floor. That was, I think, the momentum shift. Well, not shift per se, but momentum landslide that Vitality needed to get the win.
Putting it on to match point, yeah, that was big. And that was, I mean, Dorms, the only 2 attacking round victories for the Dorm site upstairs came from Vitality in 2 of the final 3 rounds. You know, Penta went back there trying to make it work a second time, couldn't do it. And I mean, even Tower, if it wasn't for Pengu's individual effort, probably goes the way of Vitality. That laundry room defense that Penta won in the second last round, or the penultimate round, came in the final second when Penta was just simply able to outfrag Vitality. So those are 2 rounds right there that you could have claimed that Vitality probably should have won those rounds, and I mean, this looks like a very different score if that's the case.
Yeah, there was only a single round where Penta as a team coordinated and won it. And that was the second round. It was the defense of the top floor. And it was because Vitality tried to do what Penta did in the previous round, where they clear the kitchen out before they execute on the top floor, and they couldn't get past those kitchen roamers. That was it. That was all that was. It was really good, though. That round was well coordinated from Penta. We just didn't see that same coordination from them throughout the rest of the match.
So Coastline, an exciting map. All 4 sites are viable for both of these teams. I would imagine that we're going to see some fireworks here between them. I think we're going to see some odd compositions. Don't be surprised if we see Montaigne a number of times. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a lot of vertical play. Some teams may be investing 2 or 3 below. A Valkyrie and a Pulse will likely be a must in most rounds, depending on the sites that they play, especially when they're playing on that second floor. But speculation aside, Coastline is ready. We'll head to Spain for map number 3. And at stake, the winner of this map goes to Atlantic City in North America for our season finals.
The loser goes home empty-handed, really. So, here comes the start. Vitality on attack, Penta on defense. Kitchen service entrance going to be our very first defense here from Penta, a site that is considered, well, I think about a middle ground site for many teams. Often, it's not necessarily the bottom tier. I mean, there is no bottom tier site on Consulate, on Coastline, but or Consulate actually, since we're on that. Neither of them have a terrible site. But Kitchen going to be the first one for Penta.
So Kitchen actually, if you believe it or not, Kitchen actually has the second highest amount of play of all the sites.
I do believe it.
And I was actually surprised by this stat, is I think Hookah has only come out twice this season. period, which is astonishing for me because, I mean, if you're used to non-competitive play, it seems like Hookah is always the second go-to.
In ranked, yeah, it really is the,
It really
the
is.
primary for a lot of teams. And I think that's because, so let's talk about the sights then. You've got your double bar sight. This double bar where you see a lot of the Penta players standing right now is actually really easily defensible if you coordinate the hold properly. It's a really good sight to defend. And so a lot of comp teams will choose to go there. Kitchen as well, it's kind of the same deal, right? It's easily defensible if you coordinate the sight properly, if you have your own idea. Also, one trait in particular that both sites that I just listed off share is that they're very versatile. You can open them up as the defenders, you can lock them down as the defenders. It's really up to you and your team how you want to handle things. And I think that versatility is what makes them more prominent for teams that will find every little advantage they can. Spark, first kill of the map. Chate goes down, and already a slight advantage for Vitality. You gotta be feeling good about that. The Vigil, not gonna be able to roam anymore.
Just not a smart idea to try and go for that. I mean, you're gonna start things off and your idea is to go for a spawn peek on the terrace or the balcony by VIP, and then, you know, even to go back for the barricade. You don't even need to re-barricade that door. Just a litany of mistakes will immediately find an advantage in favor of Vitality, and they will now rush from that point onward. And E1D, as Jonas is there, primed at the big window in VIP, to see if the buck is going to jump through, and they'll drone it, which is exactly how they should be playing.
Yona's gonna be detected, and Bibu will win that fight. Great job from Bibu to win at that range with the C8. Not even an ACOG on it. Just a difficult gun to get to work for you in that situation, but he manages it. Penta now, what a deficit. 2-man down already, and as you said, you can't count them out because they're Penta, and they've been able to win in this situation before. But a lot of their arm has been severed, and they're going to have to deal with just the torso, which, you know, those anchors. But it's, I say anchors. Are there any? There are no anchors. Are there any anchors? I don't think there are right now. I think we've got a heavy roam going on from Penta. Okay, so Pengu's going to make it back to the site, but action has been going down elsewhere, and that's slightly more important, I suppose. Bibu going to take control over Hookah. EE1D will pop off. And you can tell the Legion has been called out. Bibu looking to find Pengu right now, but he will actually do just that. Nice headshot there for Bibu, who's been having a good round so far.
And now Fabian and Goga will need to get back to site quickly because they don't have any control whatsoever. Vitality can begin to pressure as need be. The yellow suits of Vitality looking towards the kitchen, but I mean, even with that, now Goga goes for a jump out. What is Penta doing at this point? Fabian is in courtyard. He will need to kill all 5 as the site is completely empty and Vitality has not taken control of it. Why not? Why have the French not stormed the site? Fabian will take 1 down, and that's Diffuser as well. He'll turn his back to the Lion, and Vitality are gifted a free round from Penta.
That wasn't just a free round. That was neon lights, arrow pointing towards the round win, and it was on a silver platter. It was just walked up and handed to Vitality. I have no idea what to make of that. We saw numerous failed attempts at aggression, at spawn peaks from Penta. We saw a 0 anchor strategy from Penta. The roamers just not working for them. And okay, why is that? Well, it's because Vitality is notoriously good at handling that exact strategy that Penta was trying to employ. They were trying to do the offsite, you know, oh, you can't find us, you can't catch us sort of deal. That doesn't work against a team like Vitality that drones every inch of the map and executes extremely slowly. You were talking about how, oh, 28 seconds, it's a 5 versus 1, and why there's no anchors at all. Why hasn't Vitality taken the site? I mean, there weren't even anchors throughout the whole round. Why haven't they taken the site? And it's because Vitality is just so methodical and so slow. And that's their trait. That's what they're known for. And it worked for them there because Penta let it work for Vitality. Just
10 seconds remaining.
Questionable decision-making there from Penta.
So they face a deficit. The defending world champions are now down 1, and Vitality is closer to land than Penta is.
I also just want to briefly say how weird it is. I didn't even catch it before I said it, but how incredibly weird it is to say questionable decision-making from Penta. That just doesn't happen.
That whole round was just exceedingly bizarre.
Hmm.
So, Jonas running the AUG as well. Another odd choice of weapon. Usually you see the Commando being ran, that 5.56 in place of the AUG, but I mean, it really depends on how you're going to use the AUG. Given the fact that there's a hollow on it, it's got some pretty high DPS. He's going to try to enter through Aquarium right now.
Yeah, and Aquarium's good position to have, denying a lot of rotation for the roamers on that top floor. It just cuts down the roam generally on the upstairs down the middle. So now that Penta has that in hand, they can start to think about where they want to push in next. You can see it looks like it's another kitchen defense, this time from Vitality. So that being the site of choice for both teams, seemingly. Spark gonna push his way over to VIP, and he gets the engagement with what appears to be Pengu, and it's a bit of a potato fest here. Neither player able to hit his shots reliably, but Pengu will finally come out on top, using the gap in between those shelves. Fabian also gets Bibu, so here we go. We're seeing Penta show up. The Jackal has been eliminated earlier. Shate not going to be able to influence this round, but still Penta vying for control, specifically of that top floor. This will get Zephyr, and just one more in the favor of Penta, leaving only the two anchors, Rafael and Brit.
And at least there are bodies on site for Vitality at the moment. They've got two of them. They've got a Smoke and a Mira, usually the two operators that you will see stuck on the site at the final minute of a round, and that is exactly where we are, the 1 minute mark left in round number 2. The only person that has been taken off the board from Penta is Shate. That is your Jackal, leaving a lot of usage for these operators. They've got one more frag grenade, it appears. 0 lifelines left, though, for the Zofia. But, I mean, look, 2 Toxic Babes. Still a C4 for the defense. There's a lot of staying potential for Vitality. If they need it, they can choke off the main door through the kitchen entrance and wait to see if somebody's going to push in through delivery. And that's exactly what's happening. It appears that Pengu has rotated out of VIP and would use the concussion blasts to freeze the Smoke and bring it in place.
Interesting positioning there from Rafael, and he will be felled by Goga from the window, leaving just Brid. And here comes that push. E1D enabled, and Brid will finally shut down Pengu, but it doesn't matter. Jonas will finish him off, and the first round in this map for Penta, after losing that defense earlier, they will be at least able to get their own attack win. So it could be the case that this is just a very attacker-favored map, or at least bomb site for both teams, but that round, and I have to say, that round did not seem nearly as one-sided as the Vitality attack did just the round prior.
That is, yes, I would say that Vitality has looked like the better team still through and through, even though the scoreline looks even, just because of how dominant that first attack was. Now we'll go down to both the bars. Of course, we have not seen Penthouse or Theater upstairs. We haven't seen Hookah, that's not a surprise, but double bars downstairs will usually involve a castle that will not be brought to the table. Interesting, to say the least. They will run with, once again, what appears to be a very off-site heavy composition.
I mean, if it works, right, and it can work, but it hasn't yet. Of course, this is a different bomb site, so potential for variation. I like the setup that they're using there over by the blue bar. You can see they're using a shield and a mirror window so that one of their players can play inside of A. Not a very typical position to play because of the potential for just the crossfires for the attack, but you stick a person on that mirror window with this little shield and he might be able to get some work done. I don't know, it's going to be dangerous no matter what, but Penta just want to give themselves the option, at least. In general, that's pretty much the only real innovation that seems to be readily apparent here on this double bar defense.
They all spawn over in Ruins, looking to possibly push in through the office downstairs and then have control just outside of Blue Bar. But, I mean, I suspect this will probably be a Vitality round that we see right to the very end, especially if they can't get an early pinch the same way that they did on their first attack. And they'll drone out Aqua upstairs, looking to see if there's any roamers, any wayward stragglers that they need to pinch off before they can get to the site. There's nobody up there, though.
Yeah, they're not going to find anyone. The Penta are... They're roaming, sure, but doesn't look like they're putting a lot of emphasis on that top floor. They've got Goga and Pengu, so correction there, I suppose. But it's not nearly as much as they have been putting upstairs in the past. Through the window, Bibu's going to get Pengu. It looked like
kill hole.
Yeah, no, it was through the window and a kill hole. What a shot there from Bibu. That wasn't necessarily Pengu playing poorly. That was just Bibu hitting a nasty shot. Jate will shut him down with a C4, and considering how well Bibu's been playing so far, it's a good thing you didn't have to take that in a direct fight. Now, it's going to be even because of that C4, and that was very important for Penta to be able to even things out there.
They've cut off the rotate with the Claymore into luggage and will now drop a bunch of gadgetry down into the office below Aqua. You can see there are members of Penta down there right now. Jonas will see the drone drop. Rafael take it off. They'll be marked, but he'll rotate into security, so they have fallen off of office. And really, at the moment, all you've done is traded a Buck for Elysian. Now, Elysian is a hindrance, but I would say that Buck's utility on this site is far more valuable. I would give an advantage in favor of Penta for that trade.
Yeah, especially considering you can just there see Rafael was trying to open up holes in the floor using his LMG, and it's not nearly as efficient as a skeleton key, that's for sure. So that soft destruction going to be sorely lacking here for Vitality.
Speaking of destruction, Shate is still opening up a rotate between the two sites, possibly to give a longer line of sight to the team. And he's going to hold down that entrance from the office into A site. That's blue bar, as Fabian watches the window, playing with a deployable shield, seeing if there's going to be a push. They'll juggle that diffuser as Vitality picks it up and gives it to the hands of the Hibana. That is likely the operator that you're going to want. Brid takes out Shate, and that was the Mira playing at the window inside of Sunrise Bar. And just under 20 seconds, Fabian will trade that off. Rafael down, and that's your Ying, but a Claymore as Jonas goes for a run out. Spark is there. That was the luggage cutoff that they'd placed earlier. And inside of sight, 2 from Penta is going to leave just Brid. And where does Penta come from? Fabian leading the way, the IGL, with 3 very important kills throughout that round, proving that you don't need a high rate of fire nor damage for that MPX, and Penta will take their first lead on Coastline.
Fabian, really the star of that round, and it seemed like he was just putting in the extra effort as an individual, and that seems to be what's necessary. It's possible Penta weren't expecting this to go as far as it has, and now that's for sure. They're definitely taking Vitality seriously at this point, that's for sure. Of course, they've been taking him seriously throughout this whole match, but it does seem somewhat like there's been some brash plays from Penta. So they're roaming, for example. They've been doing it very loosely on a map like Coastline. This is a very exposed roaming map. They did a full 5-man roam strategy on their first defense. And the second defense, they were going for a 4 to 3-man roam strategy. They eventually had some anchors start to come back. But it's dangerous to be putting so much emphasis on the roaming in this map. On Oregon, it was working out great. Roaming for both teams, really a good idea. Here, it's been dangerous for both teams.
I mean, taking them seriously, I think, is that first round wasn't, I think, a serious effort from Penta. I think you can call a spade at that point, and yeah, I think that's exactly what you were saying, was the first round was kind of a let's test him and see how much we can push him for. And, I mean, you have 5 people roaming, go for a spawn peak with a vigil. It's several spawn peaks, you know, you're still potentially hanging out by the one doorway that you can get shot through, which is exactly what happened. Yeah, the first round from Penta was sloppy, to say the least.
And it could be, I think, there's definitely credit to be handed to Penta in a way that you just brought up, which is it's possible Penta were just trying to gauge Vitality. Maybe it wasn't like a misplay, maybe it wasn't them being brazen, it was just them trying to figure out, okay, what are the limits here? And they certainly have figured out those limits. Now they're going to be executing onto our very first defense of the Master or Penthouse and Projector hold. This is a, I'd say, it's one of the more typical sites for your average player and in ranked, but it's not as popular in competitive as it is, as I think Kitchen is. No, wait, no, it is Penthouse is the #1, right? And then Kitchen is #2?
I believe that. I believe Penthouse is still #1, if I remember correctly. I don't have all the stats, unfortunately, right in front of me, but that was the last time I looked. That was what I recall.
That seems to resonate with reason for me, so I would, yeah, that makes sense. Vitality do have 2 C4s downstairs in Spark and Bibu, or no, not 2 C4s. As you can see, barbed wire on Spark. Questionable why he's playing downstairs at all then. Zephyr's going to get Fabian, so Vitality getting that man advantage early on, and yet again, we've had this a number of rounds now. Fabian playing Lion dying early, if not first. He has been going down and not able to use his E1Ds a multitude of times in this match.
Contact between Spark and the F2 of Pengu. Pengu takes no damage whatsoever. He's going to have to deal with the MP7 and manages to hit a couple shots through bars that have 0 penetration on them, and that's worthy of a clap at that point, because those bars giveth and they taketh away. They don't really giveth at all. It's mostly just taketh away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you traded a Bandit essentially for a Lion. That's a great trade in favor of Vitality. I'd say they won that one. And they are just on the edge. They are on the cusp of B right now. They are positioned inside a bathroom. They are positioned inside of VIP. They'll take out the mirror that Brid is playing at, and Penta can just push him. Shate will take out Raphael on 2, or Raphael as Shate gets a double kill. And now Bibo will come in. He's tagged in to take the place. And what a shot on the Shate. A great one from the French. He'll use a Nitro Cell, and he'll get it. It's just up to Pengu now. Vitality with 3 kills. Diffuser down, so all Pengu needs to do is just wait. They can double up at this point. You've got killing potential of a UMP and that M4 of the
defender is approaching
Jaeger.
kill zone.
Pengu watching from above. He'll take one down. That's Zafir. And it's Bibu left. He'll try to bait him out with a hit onto the diffuser, but Pengu can't hear him. He'll drop now, and the pulse will dive off. Oh! And what a clutch from Bibu! He'll get it, and Vitality will tie it up. That is one hell of a play, and Pengu no chance there. Vitality wins the round. Put us up even.
The 2 star players of their respective teams, Bibu and Pengu, going head-to-head there, and Pengu narrowly missing the shot that would have given his team a 3-1 lead, and now, as you say, even 2-2. What a retake there from Vitality. It seemed like, as it often does in this match, the team that lost was poised to win the round, and it just didn't happen. Penta executed well. Shate got that double kill on the anchors. He had established control over the sites. There were no anchors at that point. Retake, though, Vitality surging from VIP, retaking Projector as well, and all together now crashing into the Penta attack, getting those kills. The only attacker who was left alive in the post-plant was Pengu, who was nowhere near the site, and he was well positioned to win that. But Bibu, what a smart play and perfect timing with the fake out and rotation over to VIP. Or sorry, Guitar Hall.
And you got to be kicking yourself if you're Pengu for that
yeah.
setup. The way that Vitality was able to read it to catch Penta while they were in the post-plant rotate out of sight was very good coincidental timing on their part, because you could see that Bibu had rotated in right as that plant was going down. I don't know if they knew that the diffuser was going off at that exact moment, but a call could have been made, and they could have just gotten very lucky.
As much as you got to be kicking yourself if you're Pengu right now, I think as an individual, Pengu has one of the highest success rates in terms of clutch situations in the Pro League. Just like taking a shot in the dark there, I'm pretty sure that's somewhat accurate. So a lot of it has to just rest on the excellent play from Bibu, really. Now, Penta, they're going to go to defense of the penthouse, and Jonas over by Guitar Hall going for a very aggressive. We've been seeing this a lot from Penta, and they're just going to keep on keeping on with this idea. But Jonas is effectively just exposing himself right now, and Zafir's going to read it. He's going to see that the outline, go for the shot, and he's not going to hit them because that was not a hitbox error. That was just the helmet not being part of the hitbox. The little bit of helmet that sticks out in front of the bandit's face is not something you can shoot. It may be yellow, but it doesn't net you a kill. Jonas going to continue to contest this doorway, and Bibu's going to eat some bullets. He is not giving up on Guitar Hall.
Not one bit. E1D and Candelas will now prevent them from moving or give them away. The first kill will go to Spark, so Vitality starting things off to try and regain the lead, and will only be one round potentially away from match point at that point. Oh, I meant if Vitality wins, then they will be one round away from match point.
Right.
Yes.
So, Bibu going to eat a Gersmot, and he will just take it nice and slow there over on the north balcony. It seems like Vitality are prioritizing getting control over VIP, a very typical attack on this site. And they have to deal with, of course, these roamers later in the round. Speaking of roamers, one inside the bathroom, that's Pengu, gets Bibu as he pushes his way into Guitar Hall. And now Vitality, with that advantage, have managed to let it slip away. Good positioning there from Pengu, considering there isn't anyone on the roof right now for Vitality, and they will fix that mistake. Zephyr taking the position, but he will lose the fight to Pengu, who gets a double kill so far. All kills for Penta in his hands right now. Candela's gonna pop off, but that's really not what you want to be using to try and deny this roam. Well, I say roam, this off-site play from Pengu. That's all of the Candelas out of hand from Rafael. He will eventually down Pengu, but he's lost his life in the process, and Shate will shut down Spark, so Pengu's going to be able to get picked up, and it's just Brid now in a 1 versus 4. This has fallen very far out of favor for Vitality very quickly. He's going to get at least one in the hallway. That's Fabian, but he cannot get any more, as Jonas, playing the long angle, will eliminate Brid.
So that was really just 2 players from Penta, of the way that Jonas and Pengu were playing that, completely stopping Vitality's push. And Vitality, I don't think either had the wherewithal or the time to make a rotate at that point to put pressure on any other angle. You saw Brid was doing it by himself, but that was mostly just a move of desperation, you have to say, because of the fact that your push had completely fallen apart into Record Hall. So with that, Penta regains the lead and goes to 2 away from sealing the deal. This has been a great contest between these 2 teams. We've seen 2 very markedly different play styles between them, and Vitality has really been putting the match to Penta, making them work for it.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Double bar now from Vitality. It's the first time they're going to be going there. So, something new for these players. We saw Penta go to double bar, and they actually were successful. Their setup, though, was a little bit different than what you normally see. And Vitality are going to be going for a much more typical hold here. As you can see, they're opening up the back of blue bar. Not going to be putting down that mirror window or shield sort of deal. Which, by the way, that position that Penta brought out on this double bar was what enabled Fabian to get so many kills, and thus allowed Penta to get the round win.
5
so
seconds left before insertion.
that being said, Vitality doesn't have that.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
So double bars, final setup going down, and right now the only time that we've ever gone to double bars was when it was Penta. So now this is Vitality's first crack at it. We'll see if they do as heavy of a roam as we'd seen from Penta the time before.
And on the note of roam, it's going to be Pengu, who looks like he's setting himself up to be the roam clear. As he opens up that hatch into bathroom, he will start moving into penthouse in due course. Jonas as well going to try and be that person as he contests the Jaeger with his lifeline. Now there's an ADS to support Zephyr here, but it can only eat so many, and E1D will force him to stand still. Finally, the lifeline will connect, and Zephyr blinded, but the Gersmot will help him out. Spark from the side will get that kill, and a second for Spark, but Pengu eventually shutting him down from the roof. A very good roam there from Vitality. Zephyr has been downed, though, and Spark has been eliminated, so it's going to even out in due course. Leaving Penta now in a good position. They have lost their hard destructor and used a lot of utility on that clear, but it was an effective roam counter.
They'll grab the cameras as the Dokkaebi of Shate, who had evened things off, will now grab the cell phone of Jaeger. And you've lost a Zofia and you've lost a Hibana. You've lost an Ella and you've lost a Jaeger. I would say at this moment, in terms of just pure team utility, I'm favoring Vitality. And as one breaching charge will open up some lines of sight onto Rafael, and it's Pengu with the kill, but Fabian gets down by Bibu, who is rotating through kitchen, likely into main lobby, leaving Brid, who had a C4 in hand. It'll go off, it'll catch Pengu, and now Shate is the last man standing. They will need a big clutch from the Finn, who's the newest member to the team. He'll be aided by the sound of a bunch of cell phones ringing and toss a smoke down, likely to cut off a rotate, but it will be a distractionary smoke. As you can see, the Mira of Brid will move and put her back to the Mira. So with that, Shate getting a couple shots will give his position away, though, and the art of stealth and espionage will be gone, as now Vitality looks to push up.
The Gersmot detonating there on Shate, and even more smokes coming out, but it's likely not going to change anything. Brit in a good position here. He cannot be spotted on that mirror window because he's crouched underneath it. It's well positioned, and you can see the rotation hole cut off from Bibu, who's going to, oh, bad timing, come off the angle. Shate now knows where Bibu is hiding. He doesn't know about the mirror just yet, can't see her head. Oh, spots the head, possibly aware of that now, but looks the wrong way. Bibu gonna get some shots in. Shate gets the first one. He's in a good position to get the second one. Going for the fight, but Bibu wins it out with some great positioning inside of Office. That was very nearly a Shate clutch, but it gets shut down.
And 2 clutches from Bibu has really bounced his team back into the fray.
Yeah.
And we are now looking at match point no matter what. Will likely need overtime if both these teams continue to keep it as close as it has been. You take a look right now at 9 frags for Bibu as he is backpacking most of his team, only a couple off of the rest of his team combined. He's only 4 kills behind the other 4 added together. So a great individual effort, and that's 2 rounds in a row where he has won it in the final moments against 2 separate members of Penta, both against Pengu and in Shate. Now with Penta going to defense, they will go downstairs to the bars as well. When they went down here last time, it was a successful defense for them. Obviously, they're going to try again, and a big part of that was the way that they played on site, and Fabian saving the team from itself.
Yeah, the position that they established with that mirror window in the blue bar, along with the shield as well that you can see Shate putting up right now. Fabian playing that and really just popping off, having a good round, and that's why Penta was able to make it work for them. I mean, I believe they actually lost a lot of their roamers upstairs too. They lost all of their roamers upstairs, and Vitality had a pretty good advantage, as so often seems to be the case. And they could not make that advantage work for them.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
And here we go, and once again with a bigger round on the line, we could see a spawn peek from Penta.
They keep doing it.
I don't know why. I mean, they got spawn peeked by Canadian in the Invitational, but that was with an ACOG, and that was a typical spawn peek spot that Jonas lost the fight to. I mean,
it's Jonas who's been spawn peeking every round so far, I want to say, on defense. I think he may have missed one, but he's been pretty aggressive on those windows and doors. Maybe he wants retribution.
Now playing in luggage, watching that roof angle, and that's a roof angle that can really aid the attackers. There's just so many ways on that square or rectangular hole in the cut of Coastline where the attackers can just peer down and have the advantage of the fact that only a tiny part of their head is exposed.
Yeah, there's a lot to be gained from that spot, but I mean, when Coastline initially came out, there were a lot of players in the community who did not like the map, specifically because of that gigantic hole in the middle that lends a lot to the attack. But eventually, a lot of pro players got past it, and a lot of teams started to actually get into the map and really enjoy it. And we've talked about numerous times how there is no non-viable site on this map, and that's because the defense isn't so at such a disadvantage because of the hole. It just takes time for people to figure out, oh yeah, you can avoid that. What an angle from Zephyr. Will put 2 shots, I believe, into Shate's legs and light him up, putting him on low HP, a little over 20, possibly 30. And that's a good advantage already for Vitality. Not a kill, sure, but some damage done.
One of the few instances where the damage drop-off of Glaz's DMR, coupled with the fact that it's a 3 armor, saves your life. Because you look right now, maybe about 30 health tops that Shate has left. Could have been a scenario where, you know, could have killed a 3 speed. Now, there is a way that you can use Candelas through soft surfaces.
He did it wrong, but yeah, you can do it.
He does it wrong the first time, but the second time around will make it work, and that will be Bibu sprinting in to take advantage of it, but there's nobody playing in Office. So Vitality will have 45 seconds to line up this attack. They have a stake over Office, but they need to make sure that they can get to B successfully. Because right now, every single member of both teams is still alive. Match point will come up no matter which team, whether it's the French or whether it is the more multinational European team of Penta. Waiting to see if there's going to be a drop. But a lot of patience from Penta right now as Vitality has control of the periphery, but not the actual site. One smoke will go in through the window, but no ADS there to catch it. Zafir will lose all but a tiny portion of his health as he contends against Penta, and there the ADS goes. It'll prevent the Ying's power from going in. Penta will be able to stop this successfully. 3 from Penta as it's a 5v2. They need to get Plant down, and Raphael gets stopped. There is Vitality's biggest weakness. They just simply wait way too long, and Penta is able to stop them. Don't lose a single life, and now it's match point for your defending world champions.
And nobody has won an attack onto double bar yet. It's been a very strong site for both teams. Vitality's only gone there a single time. That's the second time for Penta. But that round, like you said, I think comes down to Vitality's weakness being emphasized. The clock. That's really what it comes down to there. There was also a lot of misuse of utility. The first Candela, completely wasted on the top floor. The second Candela, completely wasted going into office. There were no Penta players inside of office, and a simple drone can tell you that. And more importantly, they were doing a very shallow attack. And what I mean by shallow is not the attack didn't contain depth, but rather their assault was where it was going into office that's exposed to the outside. And then from there, you're moving into the site. There's very little to do in that attack. It's a pretty simple one. Yet it took Vitality 3 minutes to execute. And they lost the round even with a man up because no time.
So that is Vitality's own undoing. And they have just given away match point as well. So with Penta going down into Kitchen, we will see if this is the end. We will have seen 0 Hookah, and we will have seen Master twice, Kitchen 3 times, Bars 3 times. As for Kitchen, Penta lost on their defense, and Vitality lost on their defense. So an attacker-sided stat line so far for this site.
Yeah, Vitality, of course, did just go to the double bar, so they are going to have to go somewhere else. And Kitchen being their site of choice, can't really knock it. It's a good one, but it hasn't really been working that well. So they're going to have to change something here to push it to overtime and keep their chances alive at going to LAN. They have brought it so very close, no matter what. Now, Eunice is going to use his lifeline to clear out barbed wire, and then later to concuss Zafir, who is playing on the mirror window up inside of Projector. This is a very heavy investment on that top floor roam from Vitality. A dangerous one at that, as it's likely Penta will just simply ignore him in Projector. They don't need to contest his position per se. They can if they want to. They don't have to.
I mean, I think at this point you can't ignore Vitality's roamers that easily. You do so at your peril.
You can contain them, is what
yes.
maybe is what I should have said. You can put them in the box and not confront them directly.
So if we'll see if Penta's going to do that right now. They've spent about 90 seconds droning and coordinating together, as only a couple have managed to make their way into the building. Jonas is the deepest in. He'll be joined by Pengu. Shate finds one of the goo traps as there's an open hatch just down to the bars below.
Ivu gonna narrowly get away with his life as he dodges a couple bullets right there from the blue stairs. First EE1D here for Penta. And we talked about earlier, Fabian's not been using his line charges all that well so far, so we need to make sure he stays alive in the later end of this round.
And now you can see first kill is going to go to Pengu. He takes out Bibu, and that's the Ashe finding the other Ashe main. And now Spark will be felled. He gets stomped on. A rotate will be detected, and Pengu will look to rotate as well for his team. Penta finds themselves up in that 5v3. Vitality, for the time being, have lost their Legion and their Mute, and Penta is circling the wagons. They are so close to the actual site. Zafir is down, and this is the Penta that we have all feared across all regions. It's all up to Rafael and Brid. Vitality seeing their chance to go to land slip away, the closest they have been in ages, and they've only got one left. It's Rafael with just one shred of health. He'll take one down, but Pengu will seal the deal, and good game overall. Penta, your defending and reigning world champions, will find themselves a ticket to North America as they will go to Atlantic City, taking it 5v3, and well, would you look at that? It's the elite animation, but not the elite skin.
I mean, sure.
Sure.
Pengu deserves it. He did drop 12 kills on that map, so elite animation, fair. And well done to all of Penta. Well done to Pengu in particular. Just a great match overall. That's for sure. Now, Vitality going to be, of course, upset that they aren't